The space station Vera hung in the black sky, a silver ring turning slowly above a dying star. The star's light was weak and red, washing the metal corridors in a dull glow. Life here was quiet, too quiet. The station had not seen any visitors in weeks. That's why everyone stopped what they were doing when the alarm sounded. It wasn't a battle alarm. It was the docking alert. On the main viewing screen, a small ship appeared out of the void. It was old, scratched, and covered in scorch marks. The engines flickered like they could fail at any moment. No escort. No ID beacon. No flight plan. It came in slowly, like it had limped across half the galaxy just to reach them. Captain Rahl of the docking bay crew narrowed his eyes. Single pilot, he muttered. No cargo, no signals. This is strange. The ship slid into docking port 3 with a metallic hiss. Steam rolled off its hull. The hatch opened and out stepped a young woman. Her flight suit was torn, patched, in several places with pieces that didn't match. Her hair was messy, her skin pale from long travel. She carried no weapons. No ID tag, no visible tech. Just a small metal pendant hanging around her neck. Docking Officer Turin stepped forward. Identify yourself. Name, origin, purpose. The woman looked at him. Her eyes were sharp, too sharp for someone who looked so tired. She said only one thing. I need to speak to the Council. The fate of the galaxy depends on it. The officers glanced at each other. The Council? This station hadn't hosted a council session in months. And strangers didn't just walk in, demanding to see them. Double quotes, miss. Officer Turin began carefully. You have no record in the Galactic Registry, no flight logs, no proof of citizenship in any system. Until we know who you are. She cut him off. I don't have time for this. If you delay me, everyone here will die. That was not the kind of thing you said in a place like Vera. The officer stiffened. One moved his hand toward his blaster. The woman didn't flinch. She didn't even look nervous. She just stood there, like she already knew she would get what she wanted. Word spread through the station in minutes. From the upper market decks to the lower maintenance halls, people whispered about the stranger in the docking bay. Some said she was a spy from the border wars. Others claimed she was the last survivor of a lost colony. A few swore they recognized the strange glowing scars on her hands, though no one could name the species. By the time she was escorted to the Central Council chamber, a small crowd had gathered in the hallways to see her pass. She didn't look at them. She walked straight ahead, her eyes fixed on the big doors at the end of the hall. Inside the chamber, 12 council members waited, alien and human alike. Councillor Varin, a tall figure with pale blue skin, leaned forward. You say the galaxies. Fate depends on you speaking with us. Explain. The woman's gaze swept across the table. Something is coming, she said. Something older than your empires. Something that does not stop. Councillor Ranner, a short, thick-set human, frowned. If this is about pirates, border fleets, or rebellion, it's not, she said sharply. This is bigger than any war, you know. I came alone because there is no one left to come with me. The room went silent. Councillor Varin's voice was calm but cold. And why should we believe you? You have no proof, no history. You could be leading danger here. The woman shook her head. The danger was already coming. I only arrived first. Before anyone could respond, a soft alarm began to beep in the corner of the room. One of the council aides hurried to the wall screen and tapped it. Data lines scrolled past. Councilors, the aide said, voice shaking. We're picking up movement. Varin turned sharply. Movement? From where? The aide swallowed hard. From deep space. No transponder. No communication. Size, massive. How massive? Ranner demanded. The aide hesitated. larger than any registered ship, possibly larger than the station itself. The woman stepped closer to the table. It's here sooner than I thought. Counselor. Varen's eyes narrowed. What is here? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked toward the giant window at the far end of the chamber. Out beyond the starfield, something flickered like the light was bending. It doesn't matter what you call it, she finally said. Names won't help you. Action will. Counselor Ranner slammed his hand on the table. Enough games. Tell us what's coming. The woman's voice was calm, but her eyes were cold. The thing you feel in your bones right now. That's them. And if you don't listen to me, none of you will live to see another sunrise. The room fell silent again. Outside, the flicker in space was growing, spreading like a shadow against the dying star's red light. Inside Vera, no one moved. No. One breathed too loud. Because every soul on that station, whether they believed her or not, could feel it. Something enormous was coming. And it was coming straight for them. The shadow in the sky was not a trick of the dying star's light. It was real, and it was moving. From the council chamber's wide window, the members could see it now, a dark shape that blotted out whole stretches of stars. It didn't glide like a ship. It didn't burn with engines. It drifted, as if space itself was carrying it forward. Counselor Ranner leaned closer to the glass. What in the void is that? No one answered. The woman the stranger watched without blinking. It's faster than it looks, she said quietly. By the time you see the shadow, they've already seen you. Her words sent a chill across the room. Counselor Varen turned to the aide at the control panel. Send a priority scan. I want size, speed, and... I'm already on it, the aide interrupted, his hands shaking as he tapped the console. But the readings don't make sense. The scanners can't find an outline. It's like it's not there, the woman finished for him. Varen's voice hardened. Enough riddles. If you know what that thing is, tell us. She turned to him, and for the first time, there was fear in her eyes. You wouldn't believe me. Try us. The woman drew in a slow breath, her hands curling into fists. They're called the Eclipsed. They don't invade for resources. They don't conquer for power. They erase. Counselor Ranner frowned. Erase? You mean destroy? No, she said flatly. Destroying leaves something behind. This leaves nothing. A murmur rippled across the chamber. Some of the guards shifted uneasily. They had heard Taylor's old spacer's stories about ships that vanished without wreckage, about worlds no one remembered until someone mentioned a name and half the room suddenly realized they'd forgotten it. The woman looked toward the shadow again. Once they choose a target, there's no hiding, no running, no negotiating. Counselor Varen straightened in his chair. And thereafter? You, S? After me, she said. You're just in the way. Her words fell like a stone in water, spreading a cold silence through the room. One of the guards muttered under his breath. So she did lead them here. The woman's head turned sharply. No, they were coming whether I made it here or not. But now you have a chance. Counselor Varen's tone was sharp. A chance for what? To fight back, she said simply. The room erupted in disbelief. Ranner slammed a hand on the table. Fight back? Against that? It's the size of a small moon. We don't even know if it's alive. It's alive, she said. And it knows I'm here. The aide at the panel suddenly stiffened. Counselors, we're receiving something. Varen snapped. A transmission? Yes, but not on any channel I recognize. The aide hesitated. It's old. Pre-warp age, maybe older. The woman's eyes narrowed. Play it. Static hissed through the speakers. At first, then a deep, hollow voice filled the chamber. It was slow, each word stretched like it was traveling across centuries. Return what you stole, or the stars will fall. The voice faded. Silence returned. Varen's face was pale. What does that mean? The woman's hand touched the small pendant at her neck. It means they know I still have it. Ranner's voice was low. Have what? She looked at them one by one. A part of them. A piece of what they are. The only thing that can hurt them. No one spoke. From the window, the shadow was larger now, its edge swallowing the faint glow of distant systems. And yet it made no sound. Varen rose to his feet. Lock down the station. Arm all defense batteries. The woman shook her head. It won't help. Your weapons can't even touch them. Ranner glared. Then what do you suggest? Her answer was simple, quiet, but carried through the entire chamber. Turn off everything. Lights, power, life support if you have to. Make this place look dead. If they think there's nothing here, they'll pass by. The council members exchanged uneasy looks. Do that, Ranner said bitterly, and the people on this station will suffocate before you're eclipsed, even get close. The woman's eyes darkened. Better a slow death than no trace of you ever existing. For a long moment, no one spoke. The shadow outside grew, and the station's sensors began to scream with warning signals. Far away, deep in the black, faint lights glimmered inside the darkness like eyes opening. And then, just for a second, the dying star's light dimmed. As if something enormous had moved between it and Vera, the woman took a step toward the window. They found us. The chamber lights flickered once. Then again, the shadow outside was so large now that only a thin curve of the dying star was visible beyond it. It felt closer than it should have been, like space itself had bent to let it approach. The stranger, the young woman, stood near the window, watching in silence. Her face was calm, but her eyes were not. They held the look of someone who had seen this before. Counselor Varen broke the silence. This is still just a ship or a fleet. Nothing we can't. The lights went out. The chamber fell into total darkness. Somebody cursed under their breath. The sound of shuffling boots echoed in the room. Then the emergency lights flickered on, bathing the chamber in a dull red glow. Report. Varen barked. The aide at the console tapped frantically at the screen. I don't understand. Every power relay just shut down at the same time. No weapons, no shields. Life support running on backup only. The woman didn't turn from the window. They're feeling you out, she said softly. Testing what you have before they take it away for good. Ranner scowled at her. How would you know? She finally faced him. Because I watched them do it. To my home. To my people? The room grew still. Counselor Varen's voice dropped. Tell us. She hesitated, her hand touching the small pendant again. My world was called Trassen, a green planet with deep oceans and cities in the clouds. The eclipsed came without. Warning, no messages, no demands, just shadows in the sky. First they took the power. Then the voices stopped. Then the memories. The memories? One of the guards asked. She nodded. When they're finished, people forget the place. Even existed. Its name. Its people. Everything. Like it was never there at all. The aide shook his head. That's impossible. Her voice was cold. Do you remember the planet Calivra? Silence. I didn't think so, she said. Some of the older council members shifted uncomfortably. One muttered, Calivra. That sounds familiar. But the thought slipped away almost immediately, leaving an emptiness in their minds. Varen's hands tightened into fists. If what you say is true, then why you? Why are you still here? The woman looked down at her. Hands. The faint glowing scars along her skin pulsed slightly, as if in answer. Because I took something from them. Something they can't erase. What? Ranner demanded. She met his gaze. A living fragment of their core. The piece that keeps them connected. Without it, they can still kill. But they can't. Finish the erasure. Varen stared at her. You're saying you stole part of their mind? Yes. And you've been running ever since? She gave a single nod. But I'm not just running anymore. I came here to warn you. Ranner scoffed. Warn us? You brought them to our door. Before the woman could answer, the chamber shook violently. The council members grabbed the table to steady themselves. The aides shouted over the noise. Something just hit the outer hull. No, it didn't hit. It passed through. There's no breach, but something's inside the station. Varen snapped. Seal the chamber. Get security on. A low, bone-deep hum filled the air. The red emergency lights began to swirl and twist, their glow warping into strange shapes on the walls. The woman's voice was barely a whisper. Too late. Through the chamber window, the shadow split open. Not like a door or a hatch, more like a wound. From within, faint pale lights moved, drifting slowly toward the station. They didn't look like ships. They looked like shapes. Cut out of reality itself, pieces of the universe that didn't belong. Ranner stared. What are those? Her answer was quiet. The hunters. The council chamber doors burst open. A pair of guards ran in, breathing hard. Counselors, something's moving in the lower decks. It's not showing up on scanners. Varen turned to the woman. If you know how to stop this, you'd better speak now. She stepped forward, her expression hard. You can't stop them here. You have to make the station disappear before they finish locking on to us. Disappear? Ranner snapped. How do we do that? She looked directly at him. We cut the power completely. And then we pray they pass us by. Varen hesitated. And if they don't? Her voice was cold as the void outside. Then none of this will matter. You won't even remember this conversation happened. The air in the council chamber felt heavier now. Not from fear, though there was plenty of that, but from something else. A pressure, like the weight of an unseen hand pressing down on every living thing inside Vera. The stranger stood completely still, her eyes fixed on the shadow outside. It was closer now, no longer a distant blot in the sky. The thing's edges weren't solid. They bled into the darkness around it, like it was made of night itself. Counselor Varen's voice broke the silence. This isn't possible. Even the largest dreadnoughts can't move without engines. How is that thing? It's not moving, the woman said quietly. It's falling, Renner frowned. Falling? From where? Her answer was sharp. From a place you can't reach, a place you don't want to reach. The aide's console began to scream with alarms. He jabbed at the controls. Multiple readings, temperature drops in every deck, gravity fluctuations, unexplained electromagnetic spikes. The chamber shook again, harder this time. Somewhere far below, something metallic groaned, the sound echoing up through the station's spine. The woman turned to the council. If you want to live, you have to do exactly what I say. Varen stared at her. And if we don't? She didn't hesitate. Then you'll be gone before you know you're in danger. Before anyone could respond, the chamber doors slid. Open again. 2 security officers stumbled inside, their armor scratched and their breathing ragged. Counselors, one began, but then stopped, looking pale. What is it? Ranner demanded. The officer's voice shook. Something's in the station. We can't see it clearly. Every time we get close, it's like our eyes slip away from it. We forget we were chasing anything at all. The other officer added, people are vanishing. Not screaming, not fighting, just gone. The woman's jaw tightened. Hunters, she said again. They've sent them ahead to clear the way. Varen snapped. Clear the way for what? Her gaze flicked toward the shadow. For them. The aide's voice cracked from the console. Object now within 10,000 kilometers. No energy signature, but it's... He stopped suddenly, eyes going wide. It's looking at us. Ranner turned sharply. Looking? How can you? The shadow shifted. No engines flared. No lights came on. But every person in the chamber felt it like a cold wind passing through their minds. Thoughts slowed. Memories slipped. For a moment, some couldn't even remember why they were in this room. The woman took a step forward. They've chosen the station as part of the hunt. Ranner glared at her. And that means what, exactly? It means, she said slowly, that if we don't hide now, you'll all be erased. And once they start, you can't fight them. You won't even know they're here. The chamber lights flickered again. This time, they didn't come back at full strength. Only the red emergency glow remained. Power cut to 70%, the aide reported. I didn't authorize. Wait. His fingers flew across. The controls. It's not us. They're draining us remotely. The woman didn't look surprised. Then we're out of time. She reached for her pendant, pulling it from her neck. The chain was thin, but the pendant itself was unlike anything the council had seen. It wasn't metal. It wasn't stone. It was a small, translucent shard that pulsed faintly with a deep, rhythmic light like the beat of a heart. Several counselors leaned forward instinctively. Varen frowned. What is that? Her voice was low, but steady. A fragment of their core. This is what they want back. And the only thing they fear losing. Ranner snorted. That's what you think can stop a thing the size of a moon? The woman's eyes narrowed. It's not size that matters. It's connection. They're all linked to a central. Mind. This piece cuts that link. With it, they can be hurt. Without it, you're already dead. The council fell silent. Then, deep in the station, an alarm began to howl. A different one. Not a docking alarm. Not a fire warning. This was the breach alarm. The aide's voice was thin. Something just entered the outer hull. No physical damage. But sensors show movement inside. The woman shoved the pendant back under her suit. Hunters. Once they're inside, they'll find me. Ranner pointed at her. Then give them what they want. She turned slowly to face him. You think that will save you? The moment they have it, this station will be nothing but empty air. The aide's console flashed red in. Object now within 5,000 kilometers. No change in speed. It's weight. It's opening. The council members turned toward the window. The shadow was splitting, not into two halves, but into countless thin strands of darkness that twisted and curled like smoke. Inside that rift, faint lights shimmered, shifting in strange, unnatural patterns. The woman's voice dropped to a whisper. The hunter ship. And then the station shook so violently that several counselors fell from their seats. Somewhere, in the distance, a deep metallic clang echoed, a sound like something enormous attaching itself to the station's hull. The woman looked around the chamber, her expression grim. If you want to live, we kill the lights. Now. The Aurora's hidden chamber was colder than the rest of the ship. Frost clung to the walls like ghostly fingerprints, and the lights flickered as if afraid of what they might reveal. Inside, Alara moved slowly. She had never opened this section. Before, it was sealed with codes she did not remember entering, yet here she was, standing before a smooth black cylinder almost the height of a man. It pulsed faintly, like a heart dot. Captain Reese stood behind her, his voice low. What is it? Alara didn't turn. Her hand rested on the cylinder, and for a moment her eyes filled with something Reese couldn't read, sadness and fear. It's not a weapon, she whispered. It's a memory. Reese frowned. A memory? Of what? She finally looked at him. Of a people who no longer exist. My people. The captain froze. Until now, everyone assumed she was human, perhaps from some lost colony. But the way she spoke, the way her words seemed heavy, it told a different story. They were destroyed, Ilara continued, hunted across the galaxy until none remained. And when I was a child, they took my world, burned it, erased our name from history. I was the only one who escaped. This, she tapped the cylinder gently, contains the full archive of my species. Everything we were, our art, our voices, even our last moments. Reese's mind spun. And the fleet hunting you, they don't want me, Alara interrupted. They want this. If it's destroyed, no one will ever know we existed. No one will know what they did. The truth settled between them like a storm waiting to break. Outside, the enemy ships still searched, and every second they lingered put the crew in greater danger. Reese stepped closer. Then we protect it. Whatever it takes. Her gaze softened, but there was no relief in it. You don't understand. Protecting it means declaring war against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. The ship trembled as another proximity alarm blared. The enemy was closing in. Reese's voice was steady. Then I guess we've just chosen our side. Ilara's lips parted, not in fear this time, but in something darker, resolve. She turned toward the control panel. Then we make them remember. The Aurora began to change course, heading straight toward the center of the enemy search grid. Not to run, but to fight. The transmission spread like wildfire. Every fleet, every government, every pirate, and every smuggler saw it. It was her standing on the shattered bridge of a warship that was never supposed to exist. The ship's hull bore scars from battles no one had recorded, its armor glowing faintly with energy that didn't match any known technology. Her voice was calm, but it carried the weight of something ancient. You will remember my name, she said, her eyes locked on the camera, and you will remember what I did here. Behind her, the wreckage of an enemy dreadnought drifted, split in half. Around it, debris fields stretched for thousands of kilometer ships. Stations, even moons reduced to silence. The Galactic Council, once confident in their dominance, now sat frozen in their chambers. The politicians who mocked her before were pale, unable to speak. On distant worlds, people whispered her name in awe. On warfronts, soldiers carved it into their armor for luck. The galaxy didn't just fear her now, they admired her. She was not just a survivor. She was a force of history. And as the transmission ended, one final line appeared in bold text across every screen. She came alone. But she will never stand alone again.